Hello, my name is Mike Shaw. I'm going to talk to you about Reiki, but in particular I'm going to talk to you about Dimensional Reiki. And I know a lot of you will take a big sigh and say, not another type of Reiki. Well, Dimensional Reiki is not another type of Reiki. Dimensional Reiki is based on the Sui system of Reiki, and it was put together conjointly with my wife Mary. And both of us have been practicing Reiki for about 30 years, and we've both been Reiki masters for 25 years. During that time we've taught all over the world, and we have had some amazing results in terms of the healing aspects of Reiki. But that is not especially what I want to talk about, the healing aspect. Over a number of years now, I've begun to realise that while Reiki, conventional Reiki takes us to a certain point, and over the years it's become something that's focused more on the healing ability of Reiki, and I believe that it should be more focused on the personal and spiritual development of Reiki, that Reiki brings about. If we go back in time a little bit to when Dr. Mikao Usui first discovered or rediscovered the ability to use life force energy for the purpose of awareness, enlightenment and healing. It has changed a little bit, the system. One of Dr. Usui's prodigies, if you like, was Dr. Chijiro Hayashi, and Dr. Hayashi had a different view to Dr. Usui. Usui thought that Reiki was about personal and spiritual development, and then healing was a bonus. Dr. Hayashi had a different view. He thought that Reiki was about healing, and personal and spiritual development was a bonus. So we had two conflicting viewpoints there, and somewhere along the line the viewpoints became too strong for both of them, and then they had to come. But that's irrelevant to the whole thing. There's a lot of myths and misinformation about Reiki and its history and its past. We have to remember that this Reiki was a name given to this system of development by Dr. Usui, who was Japanese, in terms of to translate that, Reiki simply means universal life force energy. So universal life force energy has been around since time began. That's how the whole physicality exists, because of the energy. So the energy itself was nothing new. It's just that Dr. Usui worked out a system of how to utilise it, how to teach other people, or as we say in the Reiki world, mature people, to use this energy flow. So, just going back again in time a little bit, many years ago, I had an injury that put me flat on my back in hospital for about 8 months. I had 2 or 3 out-of-body experiences. This is talking 4 years ago. After my first time I woke up after the accident, I was faced with a crucifix. Those of you who don't know, it's an image of Christ on a cross. It was hanging in front of my eyes, and I thought, because I had been questioning the existence of God and Jesus, and if they existed, then why don't they come back and show us in modern times so that we can assess them scientifically in a way. But anyway, so I thought I should mention also that at the time of the accident, I'd been working with another guy. The guy I was working with, Malcolm, he was dead. He was killed instantly. And so again, I looked at this crucifix, and I thought, I survived the initial accident. Now here is the image of Jesus on the cross, and I thought, well, is this some sort of a message? Well, yes, you know, God does exist, Jesus existed. So at the time, because of the state I was in, the cross was actually hanging off the neck of a priest who had been called to the hospital, and he was giving me the last rites, and as far as he was concerned, I was gone. That was it. So after my experience of the out-of-body experience at the time of the accident, where I left my body, and as the word saying goes, I went to the light, and I had the choice to stay or come back. And I came back. And so again, it was a sort of an answer to the question I've been asking. And so I looked up at the priest, it was very gloomy at the room because it was night time. It was just some lights around, but it wasn't very, very bright. And I said, "You can stop, Father, it's okay, I'm not going anywhere." So the priest was just a little bit shocked because he thought I was dying, and he let out a shriek. He ran round the bed and took off down the road at 100 miles an hour, and I never saw him again. After the incident with the priest, I obviously studied hospital for some considerable time after that, and paid a number of visits backwards and forwards to the operating theatre. And again, I had a couple of cardiac arrest moments on the table. If you don't know what that means, your heart stops and you stop breathing. And I don't want to frighten anyone that's going to go to hospital. but anyway, I'm still here. So, but I had more experiences, out-of-body experiences, and I expressed what had happened to one of the surgeons, who was an Indian doctor, and he seemed to know exactly what I was talking about. And he said, "Look," he said, "don't worry about it." He said, "Sometime in the future, you'll understand all this. It'll all come together." So, eventually, almost 2 years before I was able to walk properly again. And but 2 years and 8 months certainly lay flat on your back in hospital, and the ensuing time period allows you to have a lot of thought. And I thought a lot about what had happened to me, and the experiences I'd had, and I was determined to find out the answers of what happens when you die, what's this out-of-body stuff, and who are we, what are we? And so that took me on a journey of, it's covered almost 5 decades. So along the way, I learned about Reiki, I was introduced to Reiki through my wife, Mary, who had been off and done this Reiki stuff, as I called it then. And after she'd finished, she came home and she said, "Can I put my hands on you?" So she put her hands on me, and about 2 or 3 minutes later I felt as though I was floating. It's my first experience with Reiki. I could feel the intense heat coming from the hands, and I said, "I have to learn this." So that took me to a seminar where I met the amazing Reverend Beth Gray, who was my teacher. And Beth was one of the original Reiki masters in the Western world, taught by Owayo Takata. I spent probably 3 years with Beth. Every time she came over from America, there were seminars and workshops. I helped her, and the more time I spent with her, the more I learned. And I was unfortunate to have a lot of social time with her and ask a lot of questions that probably weren't asked in the normal workshops and seminars. So I decided that I wanted to get really involved with Reiki and eventually become a teacher. So Beth went back to America, and Beth wasn't too much into teaching a lot. So the universe provided with a gentleman by the name of Mackenzie Clay. Mackenzie was in the lineage of Phyllis Furimoto, who was Takata's granddaughter. So we still had the direct lineage. So I became a master under Mackenzie, and then I started a path that's taken me over the last 30 years around the world, where third world countries, where I taught Reiki for nothing, which sort of reminded me of the times in Hawaii in Hawaii, teaching people, and got paid a few vegetables or chicken or whatever. So I didn't deliberately go out to follow her path, but it just happened. So along these certainly 3 decades, I did a lot of other things, heck of a lot of things, tried everything, but always drawn back to Reiki. And so if we think about Reiki in depth, and this is where the difference with Dimensional Reiki is that we go beyond that basic stuff of understanding the principles or precepts of Reiki and the actual hand positions, attunements, and all that sort of thing. We go beyond that. Dimensional Reiki is really about understanding the actual who we actually are. And if we look at ourselves, you can all hold your hands up and you can see your hands. But if we get an electronic microscope, we can go beyond the skin, beyond the tissue, and what we find is the cellular system. And of course the cellular system is trillions and trillions of tiny little workshops, like chemical plants, all working very hard to keep us alive and all that sort of things. But between each cell is a space. And the space, when we analyse the whole thing, is about over 90% of who we are, that space between the cells. And so, which I call the space body. I call that space, the space body. So the cells themselves, when we look at the cells and go deeper with these microscopes, we'll find that the cells are made of all different components. Some of them that we learnt in school and so on, the mitochondria. So there's a lot of other things too, and we don't need to go into that. So when we look at these little bits and pieces, we find that they are made up of atoms and particles. And we go into the atoms and particles, and we find out that they, at the subatomic level, we find that these particles can alternate between physical and the non-physical. So we've got a wave energy and a particle energy. And they flicker in and out. Now you see me, now you don't. But this is happening at such an incredibly fast speed that our brains can't comprehend. So in reality then, when we get right down to who we are space. We have particles, part of the universe, which is space. That's easy to just look around the room and just look at space. So if we then look at the space and think, well, how did all this happen? How did we become particles and cells and so on? And then we get into something called universal consciousness, which a lot of people have different views on what it is. A lot of scientists don't believe it. You know, we know the old under the gooseberry bush and all that sort of stuff, but a lot of people were told when they were kids. But the fact is, we are generated by space, and we're created by thoughts, feelings, and attitudes, emotions. But beyond that, there's an intelligence. There's an intelligence that guides that manifestation of atoms, particles, humans, animals, whatever. Something is making that happen. So with Dimensional Reiki, what we're doing is first to understand in more detail than I've explained just now, is the cellular system, the space body, and how we can utilise that for our own benefits. But most importantly, it's to help guide people along this spiritual and personal development path. We all know that in a physical sense we're only here for a limited time, and whether you believe in life after death or not, isn't it better to have a bet each way? Maybe there is something, maybe I should be looking at that and trying to find out what that's about. So when we look at when I talk about dimensional Reiki, I mean just that we all operate, we exist in different dimensions, each one of us at a higher level, higher vibrational level, a more advanced level in understanding, and we can exist in different forms and in different places in different dimensions, which can include extraterrestrial. I have had personal face-to-face contact with extraterrestrials. They've taught me a lot of things, and it's when people talk about extraterrestrial, they make movies, they make it all look scary. I can assure you, all the ones that I've met, the only thing they want to give out is unconditional love, which is what Reiki is about, and it's about helping people. And I sincerely believe they are not threat to us, not the ones I've met. So these dimensions, as they go higher and higher, vibration gets higher and faster. So all the scientists are looking for spaceships and space beings and so on, looking in the wrong direction, because you can't see them because they operate at a totally different dimensional level. It's a bit like the propeller on an aeroplane, the old style propellers, and they're going fast, so fast that you can't see them. But you know they're there, and if you don't believe that, then you just stick your arm in and find it. So that's the same principle. We can't see them unless they want us to see them. In which case, if we make a visitation to this level, this dimension, they slow everything down. But that's a lot of work today. So they come in and they go. It's a fleeting visit. But they can include things in your mind if they choose to. So they don't have to spend a long time. They just make their presence known and they can give their information. So. And then they have to go because the vibration is too slow, too dense. When we talk about dimensional Reiki, and certainly in the sense of healing, we think of the healing at the physical level. That's what Western medicine concentrates on, and that's what a lot of alternative therapies concentrate on. But the reality is that any sort of illness or disease starts out there. We send those thoughts, feelings and emotions out, and that's the creative spaces up there, and that comes back down through the dimensions, through the space bodies, and into our third dimensional body. So for healing to take place properly, totally, we need to get up there, change the thoughts, feelings, attitudes, emotions, bring that energy back, which is the energy that fills us every day is pure, unconditional love. It's about balance and harmony and nothing else. If your body is in a state of balance and harmony, it's not sick. It's perfectly healthy. When we look at it from the perspective of thoughts, feelings, emotions, then it's better to understand, and it's a lesson and a guide that through Reiki you can keep yourself in a balanced state. some time ago I came across a surgeon, sorry, an oncologist, who, I won't go into the whole story because that takes forever, but over a long period of time, over years, he proved quite scientifically that, and it was his opinion, all cancers were caused by unresolved emotional conflict. And he showed that anyone with cancer would have a shadow on the brain, some part of the brain, wherever the shadow was, correlated to any cancer. And so he worked out that this whole thing was about emotional conflict, and any separate individual emotional conflict will fit with the shadow where the cancer is. So each emotional conflict causes a different type of cancer. So he was able to work out with patients like to release this conflict, and once the conflict started to release, he saw that the shadow of the brain was disappearing and the tumours were shrinking. So when I first read his thesis, I was absolutely stunned. I thought, this is it. And so did Dr. Henry. Of course, if anyone's done any research into alternative therapies of cancer, then you know what happens to people who come up with an answer for cancer. You don't survive very long, or they're put out of business. Dr. Hayner was treated with total contempt, tried to completely destroy what he was saying. But he was thrown in jail for about a year. The French president at that time heard about it. It just so happened that Dr. Hayner had fixed one of the president's family relatives. So he ordered his immediate release, leave him alone, and so Dr. Hayner is now living in exile in a European country. So what in the sense of dimensional Reiki, and with Reiki, dimensional Reiki, as I said, we go to different levels, but Reiki that is what Reiki is about, releasing unresolved emotional conflict. That is, unresolved emotional conflict is the cause of most of our ills, not just cancer or anything else. So when we release those conflicts, and we don't have to do anything, we just have to treat them, and the conflicts will gradually release. But as you know, if you don't use it, then it doesn't work. A lot of people think it's like McDonald's, instant fix. So with the whole aspect of releasing emotional conflict, getting to state of balance and harmony, and by using the type of mindfulness that I introduced into it, we start to open ourselves up to higher levels of information. Things start to happen in a different way. When you ask questions, you get the answers very quickly. Things fall into place, the patterns form positive patterns, and your whole life changes. That isn't just about health, it's about your whole state of well-being, enlightenment, and understanding the whole purpose of being involved in this search for spiritual enlightenment. This has been Mike Shaw. Thank you for your time. If you would like to get in touch with me, please check on my website.